cross lapel choke from full mount is a very powerful choke, but there are definitely a couple considerations we want to make when trying to apply this choke properly. So from full mount, remember, full mount and full guard are pretty much the same position, except full mount, I'm on top, full guard, I'm on bottom. So if we're familiar with the cross lapel choke, not much changes. Now, the things that we want to keep in mind when trying to apply this from full mount is where our hand and wrist is in relation to my opponent's neck. Now, being that my opponent is on their back and the mat is directly behind them, there's a couple things I want to do in order for me to get the proper depth on my first grip. When we're applying cross lapel chokes, the first grip is the foundation of your choke. Meaning, if the foundation is shaky, the choke will not be as successful. So if I want to apply the cross lapel choke, I want to first open that lapel up. That's going to help me feed my hand in. Now, if I just push my hand until my knuckles hit the mat, the blade of my wrist is not quite at the carotid artery. So what I need to do to get it a little bit deeper is my first grip that I had, I'm literally picking my opponent's head off the mat. As I lift, I'm feeding my hand deeper. So I want to lift my opponent off the mat with my first grip, and that's going to help me feed that grip underneath. Now that puts the blade of my wrist directly on that carotid artery. If that is not in the proper position before my second grip goes around, my choke won't be as effective, right? So once I have my first grip, I know that my wrist is turned all the way out. So the blade of my wrist is in contact with that neck. So I'm opening, I'm feeding. Now I can drop my level. Just like our maintaining mount, when they have an overhook, I now don't have a post on my left side. So I need to over-exaggerate my base so that way I'm not susceptible to getting bridged over in this direction. Now, keeping my base nice and low, I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to draw a big C on the mat. I can use my elbow to help push the head out of the way, and that's going to help me slide my hand through. I have the outside blade of my wrist on my opponent's neck. I'm going to grab just the material on the shoulder. I don't need to go underneath. I'm going to grab just that material on the shoulder. I'm going to bring my nose down to the mat. Now my elbows are going to pull directly to the sky to help me finish that choke. It's important that when we go to finish, don't let your hand slip on the lapel. So when I open the lapel, I'm pulling and feeding as tight as I can, turning your wrist out. So that way the blade of your wrist, inside blade of your wrist is touching your opponent's neck. Drop your weight, draw that big C on the mat. Now we can use our elbow to push the neck out of the way. See how I've moved that chin. Now I get material on the top, bring my forehead to the mat. I'm going to start pulling my elbows to the sky in this direction.